Welcome to Weekly Shonen Recap. This week with this episode, we'll be doing 2 chapters for every series except for Hero Academy, which was on an extended break for this section. So we'll be starting. What's up?
One Piece. And One Piece.
Oh, One Piece, yeah. So we'll just do that, and then we'll finally have Burn the Witch.
Caught up, yeah.
On the thing here. We got all that, so we'll start with chapter 267 of Black Clover. So this is the one where it's like right after we get the scene at the end where he sees his devil in the flesh for the first time.
Oh my god. Can we just talk about, once again, for like 2 seconds, that is the coolest design.
I love that design so much. And then seeing what he looks like under the shadow, like full body, makes him look even cooler.
The only thing I don't like so far about the devil is the kick, because it's already on my nerves.
I know, it's like all his thing is screaming.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and it's like, ugh. So, go ahead.
Yeah, Austin's like, that's what you actually look like, devil. There's something I wanted to tell you for forever. Thanks.
He's seen his devil and he's like, oh, this is casual. Thank you.
Yeah. He's like, I don't have an arm. The devil's standing over there. I'll just be like, thank you. Because during every fight, he's borrowed power. So he's like, it's thanks to you that I've managed to survive every fight until now. And the devil's like, you're really saying that to the guy who just stole your arm? And I was just like, well, that was the deal. I don't care.
It's like, what we had to do, it works.
I agree to it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Man, I'm so happy. It just makes me so glad because Black Clover is back on its good graces. And I'm like, oh my God.
A minor slump due to too much Nock being a complete jerk. It was really just, I feel like there was a fumble in putting Nock in there, but now that we're actually getting to the story parts, it's decent. Again, thank God.
Oh man, I can't wait to see what they do with this, with when they finally start working together and then they storm the castle and it's going to be crazy. Oh man.
But the devil is immediately like, oh, I knew you were a total idiot, and that's why I'm going to kill you. And us is like, I'm sorry, but I decline.
He's like, I'm not dying today, baby. Oh, man.
And then he's like, actually, I remember the first time we talked, and it's whenever he called Asta Shorty. And he's like, come on, you're the one who's actually short. How dare you pretend like you were giant or something? Like, there's no way I'm going to get my butt kicked by somebody so tiny. I think Austin finally found a way to release all his pent-up short jokes against himself.
It made me think of that scene in Full Metal Alchemist. Well, all those scenes in Full Metal Alchemist where Ed would get mad about people calling him short and just go crazy.
We knew that freaking Austin was sensitive about being short. And he's not going to, just insult Charmy, who's the only one shorter than him. Because I dare anyone. Charmy is weirdly the second strongest character that we know about.
And she's just like a little gag character on the side for most of it. And then
somehow the gags end up just making her even more powerful.
Oh, man. But yeah, we get that. And then...
the devil's just like, oh, I guess you don't really understand what's going on. And suddenly the book flies off the holster, the grimoire, flies off the holster, goes over to the devil, and then the Demon Slayer sword comes out and floats above his hand.
He just takes the whole thing.
Yeah, and he upgrades the sword with even more anti-magic, so it actually grows larger, and he can just, float it around. And he swings it right next to Asta.
And Asta, kind of moves out of the way, just barely.
Yeah, he basically does, the dancer dude's kick. Yeah, he twists and kicks off the sword to get away from it. Which, I love whenever, like, my hero is like the most obvious with this, but I do love whenever like they take moves from somebody else.
Mm. Man, I do love that
It's
about
like you
Hero
can
though.
take,
It's
yeah,
so
you can
fun.
take little things from another person, and you're
Mhm.
not really robbing them. It's just you're making yourself better after knowing the person.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing with Deku using his float and all those different abilities together. It's like we see all that training he went through to kind of use the abilities in similar ways. So it's like he's
And
using
whenever
them.
he was like learning how to do the breakdancing, or
Mm,
whenever he was taking Bakugo's like his crouched like animalistic style to move it.
mm,
It's like there were reasons they're doing it. It's not I'm taking their style. It's like this is a better way to move about.
yeah,
And he's twisted them together to make something of himself. But this isn't my hero, so let's get back.
yeah. So he takes that, and then we find out that because Asta doesn't really want to fight him, he just wants to talk to him. But
Yeah, but the
then,
devil is like convinced that it needs its body to get revenge.
mm,
And then basically Asta's like, I don't want to fight you. And Noxus is like, what are you talking about? You came here to get stronger, didn't you?
mm,
Uh, you have to defeat him no matter what it takes. Otherwise, the devil is going to take your body, turn you
and then
into a
turn into a
monster.
monster.
I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to hang your skull up with the rest of these. And then it just cuts over to all the pillars full of skulls.
Which is, does that mean he's done that with that many people?
I don't think it's him because it says that those bones belong to anybody who failed a binding ritual.
Mm. So maybe is it like a shared space? You think like he can just access
Yeah,
it?
I think this is just an area that generally this happens in, and
Mm.
just like using shadow magic, he brought them there. That's why I'm kind of not of the camp of this is below his castle. I just think that he has that room set up
To
as like
transport, like
as a way to get there.
mm,
Because I doubt it's something that you can get into normally if you
mm.
haven't set up an area to do it. Because it's all forbidden magic.
Which
And that leads perfectly into what I was about to say. Hey, because
yeah,
Asta looked around, he sees like there's like a picture of like a devil in chains and like uh freaking wizards like standing around it like with scythes and stuff, and he's like, oh wait, is this something we're not supposed to be doing?
like at this point, you think to ask that question? I love Asta so
Asta is
much.
definitely not the smartest cookie in the cookie jar, and I fucking love every second of it. But this is one of the weird times I've actually going to completely 100% agree with Noct and not even backsass.
Mm.
He's like, you have 2 days. That's it. Did you really think that you're going to get stronger by using any normal, safe, and illegal method? Like, there's no decent way to get you as strong as you need to be in 2 days. So
Mm.
we're going to do the it's going to happen or you're going to die way.
It's like with Noelle and her group getting the elf magic power up thing. Is like we can't do this normally, so we gotta just soup you at this point. And then
And
it's
while he's saying this, no, he says one more thing. He's like, this is the world you had to enter because you had no magic and you still wanted strength.
mm,
And the devil swings at him and cuts the freaking air above him in half. And that's whatever, because the guy's like, hurry up, or it'll kill you.
mm.
Austin straight up says, like, no, it's not. He's not trying to kill me at all. I can tell from the key, because everybody seems to forget. Asta's not 100% worthless without magic, because key
Mm.
exists.
I still love that scene where he's fighting they're fighting the Eye of the Midnight Sun when Patri shows up that one time, like near
Yeah.
the beginning ish.
Over, he just, Yami immediately taught him key.
Yeah.
And, like, during the middle of a fight,
He just slaps Patri to the ground. Like like a rag doll. That was
yeah,
awesome.
and now after the time skip, he is so freaking good with key.
Mm.
So, because he can tell a lot more about people with key than he ever could beforehand.
Mm.
Right? He's not just picking out like, oh, that's a malicious aura, that's a good aura. He picks out individual emotions now,
Mm.
which I think is really cool. And he's like, anyways, Nox just tilts his head and he's like, what are you talking about? Your opponent's a devil, and there's no such thing as a devil that has principles.
Mm.
And weirdly, the devil immediately agreed with him. So I was like, yeah, every devil out there is a complete scumbag.
Which is kind of weird. I guess like he just hates himself at that point because I mean we'll get into that in the next chapter, but it's like
Well, it's not that he hates himself. I don't think he views himself as a devil. And like you said, it'll be the very next chapter, so we can get into it with the next one.
okay, yeah,
But he talks about like he's not like the devil I've already fought, and it's just trying to. It wants the body to do something. He just keeps saying, "I'm going to steal your body," and then.
mm-hmm.
And Asta says, "Just because you're a devil doesn't mean that you're actually a bad guy." And that's when we cut into flashback.
Yeah, because the devil hears that, and then we see a flashback of
A
a
girl who looks
lady
a lot like Asta.
talking to him, saying the exact same thing, and then the chapter ends there.
Yeah, with his lip quivering and looking like he's gonna cry.
Which I love the devil already. That's a weird thing to say, but I mean, I mean, I love this character already.
Yeah.
At this point, it's like I'm so happy that we're gonna have like just like bro time with this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
And in the very beginning of it, we immediately just get like devil lore, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, this is 268 now. And we find out that there's like a whole area where the devils live. I think they call it Pandemonium, I think.
It's well, the first thing they establish is like every devil is born in the underworld.
Or just Underworld probably is what they called it. I don't think they called it Pandemonium. I think I was thinking of something else.
And you're immediately born into a set place in the pecking order.
Mm.
You can't go higher or lower in it. And everybody will terrorize the ones that are below them in order to try to not get beaten up by the ones above them.
Mm-hmm. And then we find out this devil is the bottom of the pecking order. So
yeah,
he just
the
gets
extreme bottom because he was completely born without magic. And weirdly, it doesn't say it, but it kind of does. He does not have magic, but he also doesn't have anti-magic.
Yeah, we don't find out where the anti-magic came from.
Yeah, it's just like he exclusively says, I was born without magic or power.
Mm.
And then you just never see him use anti-magic. He doesn't seem to understand the concept. So it's really weird that the devil doesn't even know where the anti-magic is at first.
Like, it's also kind of interesting because when you see him in the flashback, he's a little baby. I mean, not like a little baby, but he's like...
Yeah, he's a pretty small guy.
Yeah.
He starts talking about ever since the day he was born, there wasn't a single day he wasn't beaten till he bled.
Mm.
And that every devil wants to go to the human world. Because, I don't actually know why they said that. Oh, yeah. Messing with humans is like the biggest thrill that they can get.
Yeah.
And one day, this devil pissed off one of the higher-up devils, and it threw him at the gate of the underworld. Everybody thought he was going to die because, like, if devil's magic touches the gate to the underworld, they just get smashed. But since he has nothing, he just went right through, and nothing happened.
He's just like, oh, okay. This word.
Yeah, so he just walks around, like, bleeding throughout a village while everybody's screaming about him, trying to call, like, magic knights and stuff, and he's got to hide from them.
We also find out that he says it might be due to him getting beaten up or just too tired, or too weak, but he didn't even want to terrorize him. He was just minding his own business.
Yeah.
And then we find out, let's see, we were scared of, and then he goes to the woods. He kind of
passes out in the woods.
Yeah.
Trying to hide from the magic knights. And then he just wakes up inside that girl from the last chapter's house, and we immediately get her name. Her name is Yeah.
Lasita. I like that name.
And another thing, like, she wastes no time in. she immediately shows us what her magic is.
And it lets her put something in or take it out of something else as long as it has no mana.
Yeah.
I wrote that down specifically.
Yeah, so she's got like these little jar things in the little pack that she's got on her side.
Mm.
She pulls one out, opens it up, and like a huge bundle of sticks pops out of it.
So it's one of those cool, like, carrying around things. I love those kind of powers. I don't know why,
it's a little,
but
like
I always like them.
interdimensional space kind of thing.
Mm.
Which, really cool, but she says, that's how I was able to carry you here. And which made me think, whenever I was reading it, it's like, okay, why would you carry him in the little jar? And we kind of get an answer to that almost immediately, but it's like, first we find out, like, she found, the day before, she found a 5-leaf clover grimoire.
And then she thinks it's like the curse of the devil.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I immediately, first I find this weird 5-leaf clover grimoire, and then I meet an actual devil. How crazy is that? And basically, the devil just sits up and he's confused. He's like, you're not afraid of me? And she just laughs at him. Is like, who'd be scared of an injured little kid, especially since you don't have magic? Which, he's not even mad about that. He was just more of shocked that he's not getting the crap beat out of her.
Mm.
So,
man. Oh.
And then she's like, oh, if anyone has the right to be loathed, I'll give you a run for your money. Mm. And this poisonous snake, like, jumps off the roof. It's been, like, creeping around for a couple panels.
I thought she just pulled it out of nowhere, like one of her bottles.
Yeah, it jumps at her, and then it immediately dies. Because as she explains, she's got a body that'll steal magic or life from whatever's near her. So she has to live by herself out in the middle of nowhere.
Mm. And then we find out that because the little guy is a devil and he has no magic, he's immune to her ability.
Yeah, because she can't steal its life since it's immortal, and he's got no magic to take.
Mm.
So she's actually, like, super excited about this. And she's like... she basically asked him to stay and be her kid.
Yeah. And then we get some really sweet panels of them.
Yeah, them, like, running around and fishing, and him playing with, like, a little mosquito.
God,
eating porridge.
I love them.
Yeah. Taking a bath in, like, a big cauldron. They make a snowman. So it had been a couple years, it looks like, that they were together.
He still looks about the same, but there's clearly a passage of time in these panels.
He looks like a couple years older at the end, and he's wearing clothes now instead of just walking around butt naked.
Which is a funny thought because, like, it might just be a human thing. I don't know, but it's funny to think of the word devil just like being stark naked the whole time.
But he talks about, like, just meeting her immediately changed his entire world, especially since we get the line where that Asta said is like, just because somebody's a devil doesn't mean you're a bad guy. After all, you definitely aren't a bad guy. And he was being all of my own.
I was going to say she does name him Lieb.
Or Lebe. It's hard to figure out how to say that.
Is it Lebe?
It might be Lebe. That actually sounds a lot more natural, so it's probably Lebe. But
yeah, probably. I was just going with how it looked.
From that, and then she immediately, like, named him.
Mm.
And whenever that happens, it's like he, like, falls onto the ground, grabbing his head. And then she's like, Lebe, what's wrong? And then he just goes, I am Luciferio. So Luciferio is using him to try to get to this world.
And then one thing I found interesting was that we see that it's Lucifero, and then Lebe. I'll call him Lebe. I think I'll call him Lebe. But Lebe mentions that Lucifero, he's like shocked that he took him over. And he says, one of the strongest devils. Which I don't know if that's just like the way of saying it, or if he is just one of.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. At the time, he might not have been the strongest. There might have been something that people considered stronger, and he killed it. Or something on his level, and he killed it.
Like, kind of like with records with Shiva and the other guy having to beat it. But I was thinking, it's like Lucifero
At the
himself
top of India, yeah.
is not the biggest one. But yeah, it's probably one of those things where it's like over the years he got to the top.
But yeah, Lucifero basically talks about like it was worth killing time looking for such a small fry because he just basically heard that he hadn't died whenever he hit the gate because like the body didn't come back down and crumple. So he said it was totally worth wasting the time because they can use him as a way to manifest in that world. And she's like, immediately like grabs the little apparition and she's like, "What do you think you are? Get away from Lebe." And he's like, "Even though I'm nearly powerless here, it's not like you could ever do anything." And then he notices that all of his the magic he's using to like be there is getting sucked out of him.
God, this is cool. And then he tries to fight her off by like spearing her.
Well, there's a more important thing that happens like right before that. She says, "This time I'm not letting go," and you can see her packing this, maybe not even packing, but like talking to this little cradle in front of a church.
Which is the one from Austin Yuno's cradle.
Yeah. So it's either she's somehow related to Asta. We don't know if this is his mom. It could be, but this could be his sister or anything because she's also not that old. She's obviously old enough that she wanted to have a kid, but we don't know if she was old enough that like she actually is Asta's mom.
See, I'm gonna go with like probably mid-20s for her.
Yeah.
So by that point, she'd be in her 30s.
Like, yeah, she's supposed to be like a mom or sister kind of figure to Asta, though. Like from just the little thing we're seeing, and that also squarely pegs like how old the devil is.
So he's about the same age as Asta.
Yeah, he'd probably be the same age or slightly older than Asta.
Yeah, because actually, I say that, but we didn't even like. She'd already put the cradle in front of the church by the point she had met Lebe. So Asta would have grown a bit by the point she even met him. So yeah, they're probably the same age.
But yeah, they leave it pretty like inconclusive whether because like she talked about already she had to live alone. So and that she's really lonely. So it'd be weird that she's like, "Oh man, I had to live alone. By the way, I had a kid and a family." Instead of like she might have killed her family by being around them and absorbing them on and being like, "I'm gonna save my brother" or something. So it's really like weird context either way. This could be the mom, this could be the sister.
We'll hopefully find out I hope we find out sooner rather than later.
Yeah. But what we do find out immediately is she's dead. So because Lucifero stuck his whole hand through her stomach and she's saying, "You can't have my boy. This is he's not yours."
I love that line. Like that was so sweet. This whole chapter, I'm just like, I love this. This little sweet devil boy. But yeah, so
she's like, as she's like dying, she's saying, "Sorry, I'm so dumb. The only way I can think of to protect you from that guy is to use my magic to seal you inside the grimoire. And by the time you'll finally emerge, you'll have grown up big and strong." And she just tells him, "Live, Lebe, my dear son," and then like he gets sucked into the thing, and she dies holding it.
Which also makes you wonder how the book got to the chamber where all the books were kept in the village. Like, I guess somebody picked it up off the dead body and was like, "Oh, cool." I guess. Yeah. I didn't think about that till just now.
You know what? It did like shoot through the wall though. Like it might have been in the fields in the back.
True. Like, what if somebody just never picked it up and it just shot? Like, it just went right to Asta. It's like, oh, cool.
That would be amazing. But then there's like this sudden malice coming off of him immediately after thinking about that. Asta can feel it, and it's out of flashback already, but he starts screaming about how devils are scum, every last one of them. So he's going to kill every single one of them after taking Asta's body. Which, bravo.
Yeah. Yes. We golf clap for you, sir. Like, that was so... What a fun time. Like, he's just gonna mess up everybody.
It immediately went from, like, hard times in Black Clover Land to it's actually good again, and I'm so happy.
Man. And all they need to do was this.
With just focus less on Noct. Immediately, as soon as we stop talking about Noct, it's better.
It's like as soon as we got out of that meeting room with Noct just like slamming on everybody, I was like, yes, I can breathe again. But yeah,
like,
that's
I'm super interested in this devil fight. I'm super interested in how everything's going to go with, like, Noelle and them learning how to do, like, whatever this elvish art is to figure out how to use more magic, or at least to, like, use magic more precisely. Whatever this power-up elf thing bullshit is. At least Fairy Tail, I will give Fairy Tail the biggest piece of credit it ever got. They knew how much we didn't care about that, so they literally just activated in a woodshed by suffering for 24 hours.
I love that whole thing. It's like, oh, here's your second awakening. Where did this come from? We don't know. We don't care.
Weirdly, we couldn't do it on Urza. I guess she already had it.
They actually say that. Like, she's strong enough, she doesn't need it.
They tried. No, they did it to her. It didn't work.
Did they?
I
thought they just said she didn't need it.
Yeah. They said that she wasn't struggling like the rest of them. She must have already done it on her own.
Oh my god!
And that's why she goes and talks to Jalal while they're all suffering in the shed.
Oh, I don't want to get into how much I don't like Urza. Oh, that brought that back. I'd managed to repress that.
As much as I like Fairy Tail, yeah, there's some bullshit.
Yeah.
Is it the best written story? No. But was it consistently hype? Yes.
Yes. Man, it still bothers me that, as far as I know, Funimation hasn't released the final season. I mean, they've got it dubbed, but they don't have any way to get it.
That's
like
weird.
Yeah. It was like, I kept looking like, oh, are you going to release this? It's like,
why don't they just renew that Hulu partnership they have or had?
Do they still have that? I don't know.
They had that one with Hulu after they killed that one with Verve.
I forget. Why did they do that?
Because Sony bought them and they didn't want to partner with the company that bought Crunchyroll, which I don't remember who that was.
I don't know. Was it AT&T?
It might have been.
I think it might have been.
Just historically bad relationships between the two parent companies, even though these two companies were getting along. So.
Oh, man. But yeah. So that's how that chapter ended.
Yeah. What's the next one?
Chainsaw Man 88.
Oh boy, you know how much we love talking about Chainsaw Man. We probably should calm ourselves down a lot because we talk. I won't even say we overhype Chainsaw Man. We don't overhype Chainsaw Man.
If you read Chainsaw Man, you know we don't overhype it. But, oh boy, we could go on for a while.
Strangely, the best roller coaster that you've been on in years.
I still need to read his previous work too. The Fire Punch.
It makes Chainsaw Man look slightly tame.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like, at least he developed a conscience in this small period of time.
Well, I do know there's that one thing.
I actually don't know who this is, by the way, in the beginning of the chapter, whenever we get to the chapter.
Yeah.
But I don't know who set him on fire.
I'm not sure. One of them, because I was going to mention that, the one, I thought it was a gun. The dude is a flamethrower. The guy has a flamethrower for a face.
Yeah, it screams burn for me, baby. but I don't remember who this is at all, which that's not hard to do in Chainsaw Man. Literally, most of these characters died and then came back and then died again and then died several more times.
And like, it's not even a knock, but being for real, only three. Three of these characters, no, four, if that is Snake Girl. Okay, so four, right? Because we got Rize, Quan Chi, Snake Girl, and Katana Man.
I think most of these people have shown up at some point.
Yeah, I'm just saying not a lot of them were like standouts.
Yeah.
But like,
well, there's Katana Guy, there's Rize, there's
well, yeah,
Snake
I was
Girl.
saying besides them, it's like the Stone Guy who we had to like discuss for 20 minutes before remembering who that was.
Yeah, before you jogged your brain on who that guy was.
You know, I was thinking about it. I wanted to talk to you about it. I know we're off topic on the chapter, but I was thinking, with Chainsaw Man being Chainsaw Man, right? Do you think he could have beat Santa in powered up Santa mode if he was like this?
Currently? Oh, yeah, definitely.
I was thinking he had the little bit of the Darkness Devil that it ate and powered it up.
I honestly don't think the Darkness Devil, because I don't think it was considered a primal, was it?
It was, yeah. It's one of the four.
It was?
Or, I don't know if we have a number, but it's one of the primals.
Yeah, it was one of the primal fears. I honestly don't know if it's considered that much stronger than Chainsaw Man.
It's hard to gauge because he
like,
bodies everybody.
Well, I'm not talking about directly like the Darkness Devil, but I'm like saying like a piece of it. I do not know how a piece of it goes in relation to him.
Yeah, it's like a whole Chainsaw Man versus a piece of the Darkness Devil.
Yeah, because it's like against the actual Darkness Devil, Makina was actually able to hold against it for a little while
before she like exploded.
So a little like tiny itty bitty insignificant piece of it onto somebody who's dumpstering Makina over and over and over again.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like I don't think it would stand a chance. I mean, Santa can try, but Santa will fail.
That scene where we get the darkness, because there's a whole thing where it's like they sense the dark. I know we're not talking about the chapter, but God, I want to talk about the scene again. There's a whole thing where Quan Chi and her dolls are talking, and they go to hell at that point, and the dolls are like, okay, if the primal devil catches us, we just need to kill ourselves. Like, just kill yourself and get it over with, because it's not going to go well.
You want to escape the pain.
Like, it was, oh man, when I read that, it was awesome. Like, they hyped this man up so hard, and he pulled it off.
They hyped that man up so hard. Oh my god.
So
not even comparatively to what is happening currently with Chainsaw Man, which also we have a moral dilemma on Chainsaw Man later, but we'll talk about that further in.
Mm. But okay, so there's the flamethrower devil who tries to shoot. You can see him. I love this panel. You see him underneath Chainsaw Man, like on the floor below him.
Yeah.
And he burns up through the floor and like incinerates Chainsaw Man, but like it does nothing.
It literally like it blows out every single room in this place. And all he did was like jump backwards.
Yeah. It didn't even hurt him. It was like an inconvenience.
And then I don't even know what to call this one besides Prey Mantis. But
you know,
I think it's the snake one.
I was thinking that, but
it's definitely the snake one.
I don't know what that thing is.
That's got to be the snakes, like coming out of the eye socket. Those are snake bodies.
Mm.
But yeah, the snake one jumps after him after he jumped out of the explosion. Tries to hit him in the back of the neck with like these whip scythe things.
Mm.
And then he just turns around and she explodes into a billion pieces. Because, like, the bomb devil's coming to grab him after he cut her head off, and Reese's just blowing it up to try to get him higher and higher and higher into the air.
Which sweet panel, by the way. We could say that for like so many panels, but
Yeah, and then
man,
he
that was
removed every limb from her torso.
so good. Like he's carrying her head again.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I'm going to be forced to see Riza die in front of my eyes. Despite, on record, she's my favorite character, but
He knows.
with
Like
second being power, but man, this guy hates me. Anyways,
he found this. He's like in your dreams. He's like, I know you love Rize, so you're gonna have to watch her die at least 5 times. We've gotten 3. We're gonna get 2 more.
and then we get the guy I forgot existed for like literally every portion of this fight until I saw him in this panel was
Spear guy.
yeah, Spear Devil. Yeah, he's so cool, right? Anyways, he throws a spear up at him after he's just tore the freaking bomb girl to shreds.
And it hits
And
him.
it goes through the pack and through like his neck and pins him.
Which,
And then
let's be for real,
cool,
he's
yeah.
the first guy to do any damage.
Anything that's lasted longer than 3 seconds, yeah. And then immediately Makita starts doing her handgun thing.
Her Yu Yu Hakusho move.
Yeah, so she starts doing the bang.
Just to
Bang,
like
bang.
toss him into the air even higher.
Before, I always thought whenever she did this, she broke a finger or something.
Really?
Yeah, because like whenever I looked at it, I thought like, okay, a lot of times whenever she does, devils have to do something, it requires something from them. Like Chainsaw Man, literally his fuel is his blood.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Power. Like every time she makes a construction, it's her own blood. So I figured it would be something like there's some kind of repercussion to this bang, but it's not. So she just starts shooting him.
I do wonder something. I don't know if this is true or not, but she made the deal with the prime minister, right?
Yeah.
So
are other people dying for these shots then? Maybe.
that's what I was
we know
wondering.
that you can't. We know you can't kill her because somebody else important will die along with her.
Yeah, and it's like you can. I don't even think you can injure. Well, no, I think you could. You just can't.
The deal with the prime minister is somebody important will die every time you kill her.
Well, no, it's
But
just
Chainsaw
any
Man
citizen. She said, like,
but
just the
Chainsaw
general
Man
populace.
Yeah, Chainsaw Man does not give a single shit because we've already seen killed her 28 times.
26.
Yeah.
Not that it matters, but
Oh my god, but yeah. But she's just doing this blasting thing, and she's trying to knock him higher and higher, and she just does it like, I think a grand total of like 6 or 7 times.
and he goes into
Until
space.
Yeah, he's literally got to space before Dr. Stone did.
Thanks to the finger guns, I always knew.
I just love that. It's like we have an entire series about space travel. Well, actually, we have several series about space travel right now because like 8 gravity points.
Mm.
And yet, one thing I didn't expect to go to space, Chainsaw Man. What goes to space? Chainsaw Man. I'll never not expect anything from Chainsaw Man ever again.
It's like, I did get spoiled. I was like, oh, there's a moon, like some kind of meteor thing. And I'm like, what is this? I thought it was like some attack that they were doing on Chainsaw Man. No.
Okay, yeah, let's get to this. Okay, so Bucket is literally like looking at him because he's floating away and he's got no way back down. Because, you know, gravity and inertia and stuff. So he's floating away with no way to force himself back down. And she's like, I wonder how long Chainsaw Man can hold his breath. So he just takes his upper claw, reaches inside his chest, pulls out his Puccina-shaped heart, which now we know Puccina, like the thing we thought was Puccina, is literally just the heart.
Is this just like a shell, like a meat body?
Yeah. So he pulls it out, and then she's like, oh, he's removing his heart. And then he throws it down, and then kicks it for good measure. So it's going at freaking, oh my god, it's like a meteorite going down, and literally he forms again around it in like crisscross applesauce.
And then we show a sweet panel.
Yeah, and then he goes into like a helldiver kind of dive with both the chainsaw down. You get this awesome city landscape, and then he shoots out all his chains.
Yeah, like Spider-Man.
Yeah, then he grabs all of the major ones that are still alive that he hasn't eviscerated again. So the snake one, the spear one, the fire one, and then Makina, who for whatever reason is just smiling, pulls them up and then rips them to shreds again.
It's crazy. I guess you have to like mutilate them to die because like
Well, maybe, but what's happening is every time they die, she's resurrecting herself and then resurrecting them
well
using the
yeah.
people again.
I was
So
just thinking of something in the next chapter,
well, yeah,
but it's like so
going
that's the
right
end
off
of that
that
chapter.
is we see Kobiti out front still dancing, and then
Chapter
she's like,
8.
"I got a perfect." Oh, we should say what the name of this is. Go get him, Chainsaw Man.
Oh, I love that. Oh,
Yeah. She's like, "Yay,
who
I
didn't
got a
know?
perfect," and then she gets this thought of like, "What am I doing?" And then she turns around sweating, and then Chainsaw Man's just sitting there once again, like with his knees up, her hands wrapped around him, just watching her. And she's like, "Why am I dancing?" And then, "Why indeed?" You get said.
Mm.
She looks up to the roof, and so does Chainsaw Man. And then Makina's just sitting on top of the roof for a second. And she's like,
Again.
including that death a few moments ago, I've been killed by you a total of 26 times now. So why is it that you won't eat me? Am I that
I wonder
unappetizing
that.
to you? Well, we know that if you get eaten, then whatever concept you are as a devil gets erased. And she's
Oh,
the
wait, we had
literal,
this discussion, yeah.
yeah, she's the literal physical embodiment of control. If she eats him, then there is no control of
So then he
anything.
can't get his power,
Like,
yeah.
he's basically the bad version of control, but there's also good versions of control.
Mm.
Then she says, "Well, with this, it's settled." And Kobiti is just like, "I have nothing to do with this. I have nothing to do with this." Then she goes, "Oh, you have a great deal to do with this, Kobiti." And then she just starts crying and sweating. And she's like, "Your fear of Chainsaw Man is weakened, hasn't it?" And she just says, "Huh?" And then, so does Chainsaw Man. And suddenly, like, his chains start, like falling off and turning into blood. And he just starts turning into a giant pool of blood. And she
Oh,
just
man.
stares at him, and she's like, "I like humans in the same way that humans are so fond of dogs. They're loyal and easy to handle,
Mm.
clever and stupid at the same time,
Mm.
and they also love me." And then that's whenever we find out, like, okay, we already knew this. A lot of devils are powered by fear of the object,
Mm.
and that's one thing that Chainsaw Man's always done too. Is like if he saves you, he'll if you call for help, he'll kill the problem, but he'll also kill you to maintain the fear.
Mm.
But it goes on the news that Chainsaw Man was
Stop the gun devil.
defeated the gun devil, which is the world's greatest scourge. And then they start talking about as of today, no one will ever have to live in fear of the gun devil. And then they start talking about all the other stuff he did, like whenever the dude who was getting chased by a bat.
Oh, yeah. The Bat
Yeah,
Devil fight. He
yeah.
tossed the car at him.
The girl who stabbed herself in the hand to feed him the blood during the gun devil fight. She starts talking about how he's a hero.
Mm.
Some girls says, "I saw Chainsaw Man ride a shark while taking down a typhoon," which I can't believe that makes sense. But
I can't believe they referenced that again. I'm so happy they did.
The woman he saved on the train from the Katana Man.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy who I think this actually might be Santa, by the way. That's talking about there was a terrifying doll army and Chainsaw Man just kept buzzing them down.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the chin, it looks like the doll he was using is Santa.
Let me see that. What chapter are we on? 89.
Yeah, it'll be page 9.
It'll be interesting.
And then the very first person he saved was, which was that girl at the rest stop, starts saying stuff about it too.
Mm-hmm.
And they start talking about how his name's going to be chanted everywhere in the world. The Chainsaw Man's out there fighting devils to save us. Basically, the entire world has fallen in love with Chainsaw Man. And because of that, he just continues to fall apart.
Yeah, she turned it on him because now the world loves him instead.
Yeah, it's like she explained. the devil's fear gave you power, and I have the humans eating that power away, eating the power away from you as we speak. And she's just like, how does it feel to be eaten yourself?
Mm. And then
it's amazing that even with like nearly the entire world's love, he's been able to do this.
which is like, I don't think that came into did it come into effect until that
Well,
point? Like, how long has that been going on?
I imagine a lot of it had, but this broadcast just like cemented a lot of it.
Mm.
Because like some of these people, they didn't have their opinions changed immediately.
Mm.
Like obviously, like Bat Guy, Train Girl, the Rest Stop Girl, one that from the Gun Devil, the Typhoon one, all of those ones, they didn't get their opinions changed right then.
Mm.
So it's like gradually it was coming into effect, but she definitely orchestrated that little TV program to spread it around even more, so even more people wouldn't be afraid of him.
Mm.
So that's why like all the damage from this fight suddenly just starts eating him.
You know what's interesting too? I wanted to mention this. I saw somebody. I feel so bad that I don't like. I need to write down the names when I see these interesting theories. But like, I saw somebody. They mentioned how. Well, actually, that might have. I'll save it.
Here's one I've always found very weird.
Yeah.
Okay, you're looking at the chapter right now, right?
Yeah.
Why are the chains attached to her womb?
I don't know how to answer that, really.
I know, right? Yeah, but she has the angel devil, oxymoron, still fun.
Mm.
Use 1,000 years to make a spear. A spear. Anyway, she's like, you probably still have enough. Yeah, you probably still have enough strength to avoid this, because he's still freaking. Even after all that, she's like, yeah, you're still a baller. She's like, but Kobeni definitely does it, and then like, I don't even know what these other things are. They kind of look like Eva angels. Show up around the spear, and then like a freaking laser, a space laser, forms out of the spear, and Chainsaw Man tanks it with his chest.
I mean, he looks hurt, but he still took that whole thing.
Yeah, so he takes the stupid space laser thing, and then he takes the actual spear behind it, and basically he falls to the ground with the spear in him, and Makida's like, oh, a true hero, and he just lays there in a giant puddle of his blood.
Mm.
Yeah, that's kind of where it ends, is like, she's just looking at him, and then, because he just tanked that for Kobeni, anyways, she just kind of sighs, like, oh, I can't believe it. That you would go stoop this low, and then it just cuts to all the people that are partying with chainsaws.
Oh man, it's gone crazy. It has.
I love how this arc is finally making like. It doesn't feel like anything ever about this has been bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's hype as fuck. It's random, but not random at all.
It's like you get the thing with the baby typhoon, and you're like, this is strange, but then it's like, this makes sense. You know, I could dig it.
It's like I would hate to be somebody who's like new or first chapter is the next chapter. Because it's like, oh, you have no context for anything that's going on at all.
And then
this is not a series you pick up in the middle.
It's like, I can only imagine reading the chapter we just went over and then going to chapter 1. Like, nothing about chapter 1 prepares you for chapter 89.
But weirdly, everything in order prepared you perfectly. It's like, I don't think anything about what's happening currently is absurd. Although explaining it to anybody feels like I'm having an aneurysm.
You know, I did want to talk while we're still on Chainsaw Man. I was wondering, the Gun Devil had 300 million people under his belt, right? He could like evaporate like entire landscapes just by like showing up. So could Chainsaw Man have beaten the big Gun Devil?
Oh, I think absolutely.
You think?
He was one of many that were all trying to contest uh, Chainsaw Man
Oh, that
F1.
yeah, because she says they fought him. It was like all the weapon devils and the four horsemen, so he was part of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, all of them versus one, and that was the fight that had been going on. So it's like individually, he definitely could take down
Mm,
probably all of them. Actually, we can definitely see that he's definitely could take down, like, say, the Spear Devil.
mm.
If Makino was not involved, he would have killed him like 20,000 times over.
Man, that makes me wonder. We were talking about. We always look at the years, right? Like we got the 100-year attacks. We got the 1,000-year spear and I guess laser thing, right? So, do you think that thing that she attacked the gun devil with was like 10,000 years or something?
I think she said it was like 500 years.
I can't remember.
I think we got a number for that, and if I remember right, it wasn't as big as this.
Which is kind of surprising given
Like,
that it
she is
looks a
trying
lot
to
bigger.
make, yeah, she is trying to make sure this is like going to kill him.
I don't even like what do you do at this point, right? It's like our main character is
And
lying
then,
on the ground in his own puddle of blood.
yeah, and then going along with this, it's like, okay, I'm having very confused moments with like trying to figure out who we're currently following because it's not Denji, it is Denji. It's not Puccina, is Puccina. I don't even understand
Mm, I don't either. At this
because
point,
this is
it's just
not
like,
Denji's personality. But then we also know that he mentally broke, so
yeah,
it could be a combination of control, Puccina's memories, and like a broken Denji made this version of Chainsaw Man,
because
which is just like a broken child.
we have the dog collar gut, like the intestine dog collar thing still.
Yeah.
So it's like that is a thing.
But he's also seemingly resisting her a lot.
hmm Enough to kill her.
A lot. 26 times, to be exact. But
Oh man.
and so we don't really even know who this is because it's like, this isn't Denji from earlier. Because we
Mm-mm.
already know she broke Denji completely.
And
And
then
he
when
didn't
we see
reverse.
his memories, they're
Yeah.
not from
Yeah.
somebody that would be Denji.
Yeah, it's somebody who's trying to do the things that would have made Denji happy. And
Which
it's like a foreign entity is trying to do it. It's not like Denji is trying to do this.
mm,
It's like something else is.
like that
But
doesn't
it's also,
understand.
yeah, and it doesn't even like have the concept of understanding that like Puccina's shown us that it has,
Mhm.
because it everybody forgets it's talked to us a lot. Like it had that whole speech before becoming his heart. It had
Mm,
that speech in his head twice. So
mm.
it's just like I don't even really understand what's happening in terms of who is the current main character.
Oh,
Physically, is it even Denji at this point? Because it's like, is that even Denji's body? Can we even make that the case of like, this is currently Denji's body? Because it totally isn't.
I don't know. I mean, I keep wondering, are we even going to see Denji again at this point? It's
No, we're definitely going to see Denji again. It's just what is going to happen to lead up to that point, and how broken is Denji going to be at that point?
I imagine we'll get one of those like inner scenario ones where he's just
Yeah,
like,
because he is really good at using freaking visual metaphors to
mm,
explain like the Denji's broken mental state.
mm,
Like we never had to be told Denji was lonely or that he was sad or any of it,
mm,
because he always just shows you. He never had to say a word about it. He just showed you how, like, whenever he's lonely or whenever he was anxious to go to that door when Aki was there.
mm.
By the way, you remember whenever freaking the gun devil was happening?
That
Good
feels like
times.
so.
Good times. That was only like, I don't know, 12 chapters ago.
Yes, it was, I think, 12 or 13 chapters ago.
Yeah. Oh my god, man.
It's insane, dude. This series has the craziest pacing. that also is not like awful. Like in less than
nothing
100
feels rushed
chapters,
in the
all of
slightest. But
this
yeah,
has happened. Like,
I
oh my
have
god.
whiplash because it's like, okay, in all of these chapters that happened in like Dressrosa, which
Mm.
basically Dressrosa is longer than currently what freaking than what Chainsaw Man's at. I feel like less happened in Dressrosa.
Honestly, I could agree.
Honestly, I feel like Dressrosa, the Cliff Notes version of it, could have happened in 15 chapters, and that's how freaking this author would have done it.
And he would have done it well. I'm not saying Oda didn't. I'm just saying he could have pulled it off. I have full
Yeah,
confidence.
the style is completely different and foreign,
Oh
and I love it because Fujimoto is freaking amazing.
man. Oh.
I want him to write a One Piece chapter. I just want to see what he would do. He's like, okay, what am I not allowed to do?
You can't have the
And
puke
he's gonna
thing.
push it up against that line as hard as he can.
There's got to be something he could sneak in there. There's like, oh,
He would get to the exact line, and he would step one step over it.
I feel like the lesbian cover page was like, oh
The
my god.
actual lesbian sex cover page that actually had an important thematic semblance to it. And he got away with it in Jump. I love that.
You know, I hate every time we talk about it because I feel like we're those people. They're just like, oh man, that like pornographic moment. I mean, I'm just saying, like, that pornographic moment that has story relevance. I feel like we're those creepy people in our basements. But it's like, it really did. I swear. It did. And that's
That
somehow,
or Countdown to Vomit. Or
oh, that was a weird scene.
if anybody thinks like Chainsaw Man's pornographic, they think it before he got that with his first goal. After he
Mhm.
hits his first goal, you never think that again.
You really don't. Like, even with
Yeah,
the
because he
lesbian
gets his
cover
world.
page, you're just like,
Yeah,
oh.
he got his world shattered earlier into that because he's like, man, I really want to touch a boob, and he's like, I felt nothing from that.
And then I
What's
love,
wrong with me? And then he gets like an actual identity and philosophical crisis with his life.
I love the whole thing when it's showing the panels after he did that, and he's just going about his day. Like, he checks out at the grocery store, and he's just like, oh, oh my god.
Yeah,
Like,
with
he's
the
still
same
thinking about
facial
it.
expression the entire time is like deadpan.
Mm-hmm. Also, I love how Power had little. What would you call those? Like,
Ooh.
what are those things called? The little pads.
What?
You know what I'm
Oh,
talking about?
breast pad?
Yeah, the little breast pads.
Yeah,
Oh,
breast pad.
and we're
Alright.
back. Um,
Alright, moving on to Dr. Stone, I guess.
yeah, we're on Dr. Stone 169.
Yeah, which basically starts with the same, basically the same phrases that Senku already said, which was take the mountains of corn, make a crazy amount of revival fluid, and wake up 1,000,000 people.
Mm.
And then Gene pretty much becomes the straight man, and he's like, really, Senku, 1,000,000 people? And they're like, if the goal is the moon, then we need a massive labor force.
Mm.
So that one dude, I think his name was Brody,
Mm.
is just sitting there listening and sweating. And then the little girl is like, does this mean that we're saying goodbye to everybody in Corn City? Which immediately makes like most of them like panic, especially like Kaiju,
Mm.
because obvious reasons.
Yeah. Yes, sorry.
Sorry. I'm
Man,
never going to tell you I love you.
I gotta say, I love the Dr. Stone anime, but it is so far. Like, it feels like we are so far removed. What? What'd you say?
Oh, I just said yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I wanted to come back, but man, they got some ground to cover before we can see all this animated.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Man, Dr. Stone's one of those fun anime to watch.
Yeah. I actually haven't seen all of it. I've only seen little scenes from it. I've never sat down to watch it.
Really? It's
I
really
imagine
nice.
it'd be fun.
It's one of those nice ones you feel like, oh, I'm
But,
learning science.
what was I? Oh yeah. Senku's basically like,
Yeah.
yeah, we are leaving them. Everybody who's there, we are basically just leaving them to conduct a Japanese-U.S. leadership summit.
Mm.
And basically, he's leaving a bunch of people who don't even understand English are from the New World.
So, the best team.
Yeah.
But,
So,
yeah.
Yuzuriha is like, so who can speak English? The reporter girl actually can, and the girl who liked the singer, she's like, me kind of broken English at least.
So then we see, where'd it go?
Yeah, they start. They ask for their first request is to make sure everybody is safe. And so Brody's like, so you're the Japanese president? Don't get the wrong idea. We're in charge here, and we got the strength to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately, the buff girl, who I don't even remember her name at the moment, but I freaking love her.
Yeah.
And she's like, shut up, quit your yamming, and tie these freaking ropes, and not just my ropes, everybody's. And Brody is scared. She's like, sure, that'll come later, but first, you're going to tell us the secret by making the revival fluid. So, and then she's like, now get the corn kernels out of your ears. We're not haggling. You should shove it. So she's basically forcibly taken over, and I freaking love it.
Mm. Oh, man, that was great. And then we get them making that deal.
Yeah.
And
she's like, if you're willing to offer a hand, then we'll shake it because civil agreements are only option here.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, as Lady You Got Spirit as provisional presidents, let's seal the deal. So she basically had a freaking government takeover by being very, very angry.
Isn't that how they all go?
Yeah, it was great. Until they bring back Dr. Zeno, the Corn City will be a sanctuary to revive 1 million people.
And then they do a little handshake, and they're all wearing suits on the stage. It's really funny.
Yeah, and Brody's like, okay, we know you have Zeno, and we know that you're fleeing, but not a single one of us can stop Stanley.
Mm. And he'll just chase you to the ends of the earth.
Yeah, and Stanley gets on the radio then, and he starts screaming, Senku, how are you alive? And Senku's going to drive the boat right past the Perseus, where Stanley's sitting, and angrily smoking a cigarette, until he sees the boat, and he just throws down the cigarette, which immediately, catches fire all over. I don't even know how he did that, but that's cool. And then he picks up what it appears to be an AK-47 and just starts taking aim at the Perseus. Not the Perseus, the little boat.
Mm-hmm.
And they tied the Medusa to the prow, and so everybody starts, at least from Senku's group, starts pretending that they're all going to get petrified, so they start running around with their hands up. And
so then Stanley...
a bunch of the soldiers just jump off the side, and Stanley just shoots off the Medusa and bounces 6 times in the air and flips it over behind the boat.
But that gives them enough time to scoot by them while he was occupied with that. And then
showing off, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he could have shot it once and waited while because they were just ducked under the railing.
Mm-hmm.
He could have shot it once and waited, but he had to show off his sweet freaking, oh, look, I can make it bounce skill.
He's like, I got a stunt on him once. I love that phrase, stunt on
And
him.
then,
I don't know
yeah,
why.
that's where freaking Stanley's like, okay, I get it. Either there was never a petrification device, or it was always broken and Geen was lying from the start.
Mhm.
So he's just impressed that he got bluffed so easily. And then everybody just kind of runs up onto the prow of the Perseus
Mhm.
so that they can say goodbye. And then they do the same on the other boat, but I cannot remember his name. But the pole spear dude
Uh,
says, like, if you go out on the deck to say goodbye, you're going to be putting a target on your head. Is it worth the risk?
and Chrome
And
is just like,
Taiju and Chrome are like, is it worth the risk? You
mhm.
bet. And they run up there.
Mhm. And we get one of those One Piece fist in the air moments.
Yeah, it's actually, I almost like this one better.
Honestly, it was a really good scene. I liked it a lot. I was just comparing it.
Yeah.
It was a nice
Oh, no,
moment.
it's a perfectly apt one because, like, they're leaving without them.
Mm.
It doesn't matter how much time they spend together, they have to leave, so yeah.
Mm.
And it's like, you see Kinro, you see Magna, you see the manga guy, for whatever reason. Uh, you see all the girls, and they're all basically standing in a line with their hands up
Mm.
just to block the sight line, but it's also basically the One Piece moment.
Mm. Yeah, it's like he goes to
It,
aim and all their like bodies are in the way.
yeah.
So they block his shot with that.
And Taiju's just sitting there, like, crying. And he's screaming, like, we'll meet again without a doubt. We're going to build cities all over the world. And we're coming back. And that's whenever they just flat out say, like, our next place we're going is South America.
The birthplace of the petrification device.
Yay.
So that'll be fun. Lore.
I can't wait for actual more lore.
I know. The lore is so
Science world.
interesting. It's like, what is it going to be? I mean, it's so advanced.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
mean, I
like,
love all the science stuff, but at the same time, I really do care about, like, how this started.
Mhm.
So it'd be great to know.
It's like some random place in South America made the petrification device that basically ended the world.
Yeah.
So it's like, what in the world happened there? I'm so excited for
And then
the
I love the cold open for this new chapter, for this chapter, though, which was
yeah 170.
Queen's immediately like, wait, hold on. So you mean to tell me that we're going to flee in this tiny boat from the ultimate sniper, that is to say, Stanley Schneider, and his full arsenal of combat elites? And I love that dude who looks like a dwarf.
Mm-hmm.
And then Girl Stanley.
Girl Stanley. I forget. Do you know her name?
I don't know.
Because
She has a name.
I was trying to think because
I know she faked being Stanley.
mm-hmm. Yeah, she was the one in the plane.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I did that video, I think I was the only one there for that one. I just called her Girl Stanley too, and I couldn't remember if she actually had a name or not.
I don't think they say a name.
Oh, okay.
But after saying that is like, yeah, they say, with the ultimate sniper and his team of combat elites pursuing us on our own aircraft carrier. He's like, okay, am I allowed to panic now?
Man, I love him.
Oh, it's great. And then right after that, they just show like this little trawling boat like pulling up with, I think it's like 700-gallon drums of oil, and just this one girl's picking them up with one hand.
Oh yeah.
The buff chick, and it's freaking hilarious.
Like they're having to struggle to get all these there, and she's like alley oop. It picks up
Yep.
a whole barrel. It's great. Yeah, they had to restock with oil before they continue the chase, and they actually don't know where Senku
Yeah.
and them are going.
Basically, and the rest of the group is getting escorted away.
Mm.
And Kinro's notices Kinro's actually missing.
Yeah.
And then what's his name?
Matsukaze.
Yeah, Matsukaze, with a wounded shoulder, just kind of falls over. And then he mumbles something to Yuzuriya, who immediately starts. I love how all the girls get like these cutesy eyes where they're crying.
Mm.
Even that one girl, I don't know her name. the gymnast girl.
Oh, I can't remember her name either.
But they're like, he's really hurt. No way he can keep walking. And she's just like dying.
I love the humor in this.
And then she's like,
So
too
good.
far, too caring. So they make the buff chick who was carrying around the freaking 700 gallons of oil in each hand come and pick him up and take him inside to the sick bay.
And
And
then
they're like, oh, can we just stick him on the ship med bay? They're like, there's no issue there. If he dies, we toss him overboard. And if not, he's a hostage.
yeah.
Which, gotta admit, that's smart thinking.
So Matsukaze finds Gin. He's out stealthing around, and he finds Gin in the place where they kept all the warriors in that dog
In
pen.
that little doghouse, yeah.
And he's like, oh, thank you. I was hiding here and I couldn't get out. There's all these people. And then Matsukaze thinks, oh man, Master Ginro, you're just the coolest. You knew to stay here and collect enemy information.
Yeah, he's like, you plan to infiltrate and spy on the to find out valuable information for the Science Kingdom. He's like, yeah, more or less. You guessed my intricate plan, and he starts immediately going into his lying about not being a coward thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
That's
like,
great.
oh, but I think it's not going to work. So we should run away and scram at the very least. And then Mizukage just kind of starts trying to say that he wants to be allowed to help as a bodyguard, and then he passes out due to the blood loss.
Mm-hmm. And then we cut to him tied up in a chair by Stanley.
Also, that's not where it cuts.
I forget what happens directly after that.
The buff chick is on top of the Perseus singing.
Oh.
Yeah, she's like, the Doctor Zeno Retrieval Tour is kicking off.
Oh yeah, because then they have to find out, because they still don't know where Senku went.
Yeah, but we see that they mounted guns to the side of it,
Mm-hmm.
and they have 2 planes on it.
Nice.
But that's whenever they start noticing that he's gone, because they're like, do we even know where the science those science kids are heading? And then that's whenever the Stanley girl lookalike ends up looking in there, and for some reason, because it's Boichi, he had to make it a butt pic, but she just turns in there and looks into there and sees that he's not there. But that's obviously not where he's trying to get you to look. But
I love Boichi though. So good.
and then Stanley's like, why not just ask the enemy, since we have Matsukage on board? So they immediately find him, and then
yeah,
once again,
I'm sorry I forgot that much happened.
Yeah, and once again, the buff chick, which I freaking love the buff chick, she hand draws this little sign, and it's like, it's a stick figure holding a pencil in front of a desk with Senku's hair, and then just an arrow towards the planet, and then below it says where with question mark.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
I love it. And he's like, you can do whatever you want to me, but I'll never reveal the methods of my employer.
Mm-hmm.
And then freaking Giro starts looking over the doghouse, and then Stanley just puts a pistol to freaking
Matsukaze's head.
Yeah, he puts it to his head. Ooh, I forgot, whenever he doesn't actually have a marking, because he was never woken up with the flawed thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have a marking, but he drew a crescent moon on his head.
Yeah.
I forgot he did that.
I like that little detail.
Yeah, because even he was willing to do that for Senku.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, whatever happens now,
dude.
Giro, don't reveal yourself, because he knows exactly where he is.
Mm-hmm.
And Gin is basically like, yeah, it's my job to stay hidden, and that would be the smart decision. And if Mitsukage gets hurt, then I'll stay safe. And we're both just doing our job. And then he immediately just reveals where they're going, because he's not going to let him die.
Yeah. He just pops up and is like, South America.
Yeah, he's like, South America, that's where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically cuts back over to Actually, here's the hilarious part. The little gun he had to the dude's head was actually his lighter. So he
Oh,
lights
yeah.
a new cigarette, which, what a weird freaking lighter.
That
Anyway,
was cool,
so
though.
he revealed it for basically nothing, but it's kind of funny.
Mm. That was
And
smart
then,
on Stanley's part.
yeah, it really was. In case somebody was watching.
Yeah, I gotta say, I love Stanley, though. I know he's a bad guy, but man,
Yeah, he's a. I always like a well done bad guy.
mm.
But,
It's like, it's not even like that bad. He just wants Zeno back. Well, reasonably, kind of.
and then right after that, it's basically Senku describing the same thing, like the rock to South America to the origin of what happened,
Mm.
and then Chrome starts talking about how he's excited to go see one of the petrification devices that work,
Mm.
and that it would be huge.
Yeah, he
And,
thinks it'd be like a giant thing.
yeah, and Kohaku's basically mad at them all for being excited whenever they're being chased. And then this is whenever Zeno's like, okay, assuming anything's even left there after thousands of years, tell me, Senku. And then this is back to a boy chief freaking flexing on everybody, on all of the earth, I guess. It's like, do you believe that the one who did it belongs to
The moon.
do you believe that whatever did it belongs to the one on the moon? With this amazing panel of freaking Zeno sitting like in front of the moon.
Oh, man, that was a good panel.
Yeah.
That was such a good panel. But yeah, I
And,
love that whole thing. Where it's like,
yeah, Cole like
huh.
freaks out whenever he sees it, but like Senku was just like, "Oh, so you already knew," and then he's like, "I guess I should have figured you'd know with this huge radio wave shooting down from the moon."
Mhm. I imagine that's going to be some kind of, because there's a whole thing with the Byakuya spinoff thing that went on for like a few chapters.
I actually
With
love that.
That was really good, but the little thing with the robot,
Yeah,
it's like I fully believe there's like a robot civilization up there or something.
I mean, we already know there's at least one person up there besides freaking whoever is on the moon
Mm,
because of
true.
that. Not gonna say anything else because a lot of people probably haven't read that.
It's really good if you haven't read it.
Yeah, it's totally worth it and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
Zeno is immediately like, okay, if we combine our intellect, we can get this a hyper advanced weapon for ourselves. And Senku's like, I don't care about that at all. He's like, yeah. And then Zeno, being a villain at all times, is like, the two of us will crack the secrets behind the petrification beam and the moon with this like villainous face.
Yeah, and he like tosses a chair at him, and they both sit down.
Yeah. Well, no, he doesn't toss a chair. He just grabs it and sits in front
Okay,
of him.
so, oh yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
just
just
grabs
falls,
it.
grabs a chair, and sits. He's because he starts talking about, so we're going to have an exchange of everything we know so far to see basically they're trying to figure out what they know about the beam and where it could be,
Mhm.
because they know South America, but that's an entire continent.
Yeah, and it's like there's a vast difference in each of these areas. It's like there's forests in one place, there's mountains in another. It's like it could be anywhere.
There's literally the Arctic Circle or the Antarctic Circle.
Oh yeah, because Chile reaches that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or I feel like I butchered that, but I just called it
Oh
Chile,
yeah.
so I don't know. I tried. I'm
You're
sorry.
something. Sorry for my whiteness.
I don't.
Yeah, it's like, I was actually super excited because this is just gonna that was just set up for like, oh, you're about to get a math chapter, nerds, and I'm like,
Mm.
hell yeah, I'm so excited about the math chapters.
I think the whole thing is probably just going to be like, oh, here's a complicated math equation, complicated math equation. It's like,
I get really excited whenever like Dr. Stone like goes into the actual science of trying to explain its lore.
honestly, me too. I'd make fun of it, but I enjoy reading it
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to actually sit down and read those.
because they actually put thought into it. It's not like dumb
Yeah,
science.
it's not like okay, here's words that sound good enough that you will believe me.
Mm. Man, I love Dr. Stone for that. It feels like you're watching with us, like especially with the anime. It feels like you're watching like a Saturday morning cartoon science show half the
Yeah,
time, and it's great. But yeah,
no,
that's
for
how
real.
that chapter ends. Zeno and Senku are about to share their information, and then it ends there with them looking at each other,
And
sitting
then
in
I
their
forget,
chairs.
is it two My Heroes?
Yes. And then there's, if I forget because we've been recording for a while, but if I said there was no Hero Academy this week, uh, I apologize because we
Yeah,
actually have two. I
yeah,
was
and it's
thinking of a different
but
time.
this one picks up right at the
287.
yeah, and that's right whenever what's her name? Nana.
Yes.
Nana had just tapped him on the shoulder and said that
They'll
um
handle it
yeah,
from
they're
there.
gonna handle it. Then she's like, to think not even my death could keep us from meeting again. All for one, and then she just looks across, and then uh he looks back and he's like, "Looky there, Tomura! Wow, a dead person who's also your grandma, the pathetic Nana." It's like,
Man, All for One's a
wow, look,
savage.
close.
I've never used the term savage before, but I just like, oh my god,
We're
dude.
like, hey kid, want to see a dead body?
I love how All for One still feels like so in control in this. Like
Oh, I know. It's
Shigaraki's,
weirdly he is invading this and he's still in control.
mm,
But
it's not.
I love
But,
this. He's like, we're in the middle of a transplant. He's like,
mm,
and he tries to explain like, this
personality
whole thing,
changes.
right? Yeah, there's personality changes that get talked about occasionally with like organ transplants.
Mm,
But there's, he's like, it sounds occult, but there's actually supporting evidence. And he's like, and for me, that happens with quirks because I used to get the oddest dreams whenever I took a quirk about, so I would see the person who I took the quirk from blaming me until I got rid of it. And
mm.
at first, he thought that it was just because, but he says he felt discouraged because he's like, how could somebody like me even be capable of feeling guilt for my sins like an ordinary person? He's like, what kind of plebeian am I feeling guilty? And then and he's like, but I realized after I got rid of the quirk, I would immediately not be haunted by it anymore. So
Mm,
once he figured that out, he's like, oh, uh, brought it up to the doctor,
mm.
and they basically figured out like the quirk factor remembers the consciousness of the people who have it.
Yeah, it's like a genetic. Uh,
Yeah, it's not like this is specifically to one for all for one. This is everything. It's just since these two deal with taking quirks or building up quirks respectively,
mm,
it's more obvious. So this like whole mental scape thing that's being formed, this is something that happens in every quirk. It's just not every quirk gets passed on generationally, so nobody else deals with this.
mm. And then after that, Tomura talks to Shigaraki a little bit, and
Actually,
he
first before that, it's Nana and Tomura talk.
wait. What
Is
did I say?
Tomura and Shigaraki?
Oh, I'm sorry. I said his name. I'm sorry. I had
Yeah,
it written down. I still said it wrong. But yeah, they meet. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking there. But yeah, they meet officially, and he does not care for Nana.
he actually says that if you ever thought I cared for you, rest assured I hate you with all my heart.
Mm-hmm. Like just flat out, he hates her. It's like that hurt.
By the way, I love how we are given an official shorthand for the world without even knowing that it was an official shorthand for the world. He said this OFA world is eroding because right after that was like Tomer sent out this blast of decay inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Deku's immediately like, the OFA world is eroding. It's like, oh, what is that? Oh, one for all world.
Mm-hmm. So just their inner.
It's like an amusement park. One for all world.
Honestly, well, actually, I don't think he ever gave a name to the quirk, but it'd be hilarious if they just made a theme park.
Yeah, that was freaking amazing.
We see them stretch their road, even though only its wielder should be able to affect it. And since this,
because he's so mad, he's able to hurt it, and then he starts like tearing apart too, and he goes, "Oops, nearly forgot. You hate me too." And he's like, "Okay, that's fine for a symbol of terror." He's like, he's perfectly okay with this.
He's so casual. Like, he just wants all this.
I seriously don't think he even thinks he's capable of losing.
Which honestly is he? Like, he is busted.
And he's like, but you're not enough because my brother is just as like obstinate as I am. So his brother immediately came in to interfere and help.
Yeah. Like, he just shows up. It's like, oh, this should be a big thing. And he just shows up. Not even an entrance. I love it.
And the brother's like, we'll never go to you. We've chosen to stay with the boy. And then immediately, oh my god, he just launches into talking some mad crap about Deku.
Yeah, God, that was awesome.
And during that, he also takes control of Tober. He's like, show him some power. And he starts using all of his power to start attacking them.
Mm. But then they start to hold it back.
And yeah, but he's like, I've seen through Tober's eyes that all this power is getting wasted. He can't protect anybody. He makes everybody have to defend him. He's literally caused people to die for him. He's like, getting the power to somebody that worthless is a mistake. And then they kind of like double down. They're like, he's not a mistake. Someone who exploits people would never understand why this boy would want to shed his blood.
Mm. He pushes himself to help people, is what they say pretty much.
They almost use those words exactly. They say, he's possessed by a drive to save others that eclipses all common understanding.
Which I love how that's just shonen power up with slightly better wording.
Yeah.
It's like, I love it. I'm not dogging on Hero Academy. I love how that sounds like the most shonen thing in the universe.
Kind of like, it's like, we know Charmer can take powers, but it's like, okay, I can kind of get why he couldn't do it. It's because he'd have to take it from all of them, which is the only way you can make it work that he didn't just steal the power right now.
Yeah, and then with All For One's brother being like he is, it's like he alone is enough of a problem.
But
yeah.
And then basically they come back to the real world.
Oh, I do want to mention when One For All gives that speech, or when All For One's brother gives that speech about Deku's able to stand up and move even though he literally does not have legs.
Yeah, he basically takes all he has is hands and his face, and he basically throws himself forward. Like, despite not being able to stand up, he threw himself at it.
Mm. Like, he shouldn't be able to move at that point with, as little body as he has, and he still forces himself up.
Yeah.
It was cool. But, yeah, then we go back to the real world.
Yeah, and then basically he's, Tomura gets basically a voice in his head from All For One that's telling him the quirk is not completely in your in your body because he's only got 75% of it so far. Mm-hmm. So he can't steal it without all of it. So he tells him, don't black out. You must retreat from here, take stock, and activate the whole power.
Mm-hmm.
And the Decker's was basically like with a broken nose. I don't even know. Like his face was completely destroyed and his arms were completely destroyed. Yet he looks a lot better now than he did before they were in there.
Oddly,
Meanwhile, Tomura looks like a corpse.
right? And Dexter's just like, don't wake up, don't wake up, don't wake up, don't wake up.
Yeah.
It's like, he's like, please, I can't do this anymore.
And then during this, like Dobby's like laughing like a maniac.
Yeah, we cut over the League of Villains, and Dobby's just having a blast.
Yeah, he's like, oh, Shigaraki fought Endeavor. Nice, let's prep. They're like, prep for what? Oh, to tear down the rest of Hero Society? And he's just grinning like a madman. So it's like, yeah, he obviously hates freaking Endeavor. We all know the theory about him being the kid.
Which that's totally going to come to a head when they finally get there.
And another thing I love is after that fight with Hawks, you can see the skin on his hands has crawled up again. His hands and face, he has less skin.
Interesting. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he does, and it's kind of cool. It's because I love how much they pay attention to little details. But anyways, Mr. Compress is like, "Are you okay with going down with doing this, Toga?" And they've been looking around for the kids from UA. And this is whenever she makes a speech of where do they draw the line. If heroes are supposed to save people, then why wasn't Jean considered? Was Jean just not considered a person then? And are they going to kill me too? He's like, that's the thing I want to ask Izuku and Ochiko.
And that's how the chapter ends on that one.
Yeah. She's just like, depending on their answer, I'll be fine. And then
we go to 288.
Yeah. We start in a freaking attack helicopter. I don't know why, and we actually don't know who is in it, although major guesses, I'm saying Best Genius, but...
I was totally going to say Best Genius.
I feel like it can only be Best Genius, especially since, from what I can see, those aren't bombs inside that bay. That looks like giant things of thread.
So it's like he's probably there
Which would be awesome.
Like tie down Gigant.
Yeah, he can manipulate thread, like depending on what this thread is. Like if it's made out of like composite materials, he might just be able to capture Gigantomachina. And we know that Best Genius is like ridiculously strong because of how good he is with his quirk.
Like he is super good.
Not only that, like there's some hints in because they talk, and it's in the very refined manner that Best Genius always talks in. He's like, are we not there yet? Kindly ensure we arrive within the next 5 minutes. And they're like, that's not happening. We're not Hawks or Mirako. We're already flying at a speed that is super dangerous. And then they turn back and they're like, especially since you're not in full health yet. And that's where we get the silhouette. And I guarantee you it's Best Genius. Like, we only see one shoulder. But it's Best Genius.
And you can even tell, like, he gives some special shading to his, the part we do see.
It looks like it's the denim.
Yeah. So I'm totally banking it's Best Genius. It'd be funny if it wasn't, though. Like, he's just some dude.
And then they get in an argument. They're like, nothing else matters besides the safety of others. And it's like, I'm just trying to show concern here. And then it cuts over to, like, the town where there are tons of heroes.
Yeah,
not like high-ranking heroes, but like a ton of heroes. Looks like a second bunny person, by the way.
I didn't see that.
If you look at the bus and then diagonal to the right, I'm pretty sure that's a second bunny person. Although I could be wrong. It might be like a gargoyle girl. I don't know.
Let me see here. What chapter is this? 288.
And it'd be page 2. And they start talking about like the target is currently passing through Nabuto City, and so they're talking about isn't it moving way too fast? They're like more like way too big, not to mention indestructible. And he's throwing buildings with giant mole claws, which is causing more destruction across like a 5-kilometer radius of where he is.
Oh, I'm gonna go with the gargoyle, like some kind of flying creature.
Yeah, but look at the feet. though. It's cool. One dude is literally riding a rocket, though, and I thought that was awesome.
He's like an arrow bottle or something. Some kind of
Yeah.
rocket. And there's a lot of heroes in here.
Yeah, and they're talking about everything within a 5-mile radius of the route. It's getting destroyed because he's throwing the buildings.
Oh, and
They're
also
gonna
he is going 100 kilometers an hour.
yeah, which is like, what is that, like 80 miles, I think?
I think so.
Yeah, he's going fast.
Like for how big he is, can you imagine how terrifying
And,
that thing would be?
and he's going straight through towns. This is not like weaving through traffic. He is going straight.
Just like carving a hole in the planet. He is crazy. Oh
And
man,
then we
I'm
get
checking.
that dude who can clone himself. I never remember his name.
The guy with the
He,
cool black skin and trench coat.
yeah, he kind of looks like Spawn.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either.
Yeah, but he's there, and he's talking about
Oh, I
how
wish.
there's already unprecedented damage, and it
Mhm.
is our fault, and we just had to make sure that all these people don't have to pay with their lives for our mistakes.
Mm.
Which, cool moment for fake Spawn guy.
I wish we could remember his name because I can't.
Then it cuts to the digital guy from, like, I actually don't remember his name, but the guy from the Liberation Army.
Hmm.
He's using satellite imaging to, like, take pictures of, like, he's taking pictures of live video, like the surrounding area, to figure out where the heroes are.
Hmm.
He's like, there's not quite as many that were as what we're at the villa, but there's still a pretty good number around here.
Oh
And
yeah, sorry, I was looking at my notes.
Yeah, you're good. It's like he's basically like it's basically due to luck that we're here at the moment,
Mm.
and we have to keep aware of where the enemies are at. And then Mr. Compress asked him to zoom in on a certain picture, and that's
Mm.
where you see Ochako and Sue or Froppy.
Mm. Frappe.
Like, yeah, and once Toga sees that on image, she starts like pounding on Mr. Compress for her equipment.
Oh yeah, this is
And then
fun. And Mr. Compress is like, "This is a bit too rough, Toga."
yeah, he's like, "We're gonna make an old man blush," and then he just throws the stuff over to her, and she puts it all on and jumps down.
Mm. And then before she jumps down, though, like they tell her it's like too high to jump, and they're just like, "Oh, okay." And then
Yeah,
Spinner,
and she's like, "I sick of feeling confused and gloomy, so I'm just gonna go ask them."
mm.
And they're like, at this very moment, Dobby, do something! Don't just stand there grinning. And he's like, who cares?
I love Dobby.
And then he yells at the long-haired dude who's with the satellite image. He's like, "Hey, stop spying on random crap and hurry up unless you want to get burned." And that's whenever Spinner's like, "I know we're just like a gang of strays who found each other,
Mm.
and that everybody's kind of messed up over twice." Because the league was basically the only place he ever felt like he could belong, and that Shigaraki's gonna want them to stick together. So he's like, doing what you please is the way villains do
Mm.
everything, but come back.
Yeah.
And it's
And
just
then,
like this weirdly heartwarming moment.
well, like Dobby's over there, just like, "I'm gonna kill people."
Yeah, he's like, "Hooray, I get to kill people." And Mr. Compress is just acting like a weird dad.
Mhm.
But it's like weirdly the best family that Toga's ever had.
You know, I gotta say, it still feels weird that Twice is dead. Like, out of all the characters that have died, which admittedly aren't that many, it's like still Twice feels weird that he's dead. It's like I liked him, but yeah, that's not important at the
And who
moment.
was I going to talk to you about the other day? Somebody literally got aced the other day.
In what?
I don't remember. What chapter recently got someone with a fist through their chest?
Uh, I don't know. Actually, I don't remember anything like that.
Somebody got aced, and I don't even remember who it was.
Was it one of the things we read?
Yeah, it's one of the things we read. Well, it's definitely something I read, and I'm pretty sure it's something you read. I was going to talk to you about it, but oh well, we'll find it later.
Okay.
But
I'm trying to think of it. Huh.
but yeah, Ochiko's floating around, just trying to like keep track of where he's going
Hmm.
because she's got like that advanced headwear, plus her ability to just jump up.
Hmm. And we see them like saving different people. Like there are these people stuck in an apartment building, and they go to grab each of them. Ochiko grabs one of
Well,
them, and then
actually, Ochiko doesn't grab any of them. Froppy's got them both,
oh, both of
and
them. I thought she
yeah,
grabbed one
he's
of
got
them.
both of them, and then the building starts to explode,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and so she literally like hooks Froppy through the leg with her little cable railing she started using.
Hmm.
She shoots Froppy in the leg and rips her down, which pretty metal way of going about it. And she's like, "Sorry for the rough handling." You're like, literally, Sue doesn't care at all. She's like, "No, that worked, thanks."
I love Sue. She's one of my favorite of the classmates. It's like
This
she's just
old
so
lady,
relaxed.
yeah.
I
And there's
love her.
just this old lady who comes screaming. She's like, "Hey, you two, I need help. My husband's bedridden. He's too heavy for me to carry." So Urshiko's like, "Oh, it's already getting close for comfort." She's like, the lady just starts taking a mad dash down the alley, like, "Our place is down here, hurry!"
Mm.
And then uh, basically Ochiko's like, "Oh, I got no choice. I'm just gonna follow her and then take these two back." And they just she starts floating down the hallway. The lady's literally in a mad dash at like 50 miles an hour. Ochiko's like, "Man, your legs sure can move, man." And she's like, the strength of my legs is thanks to the Toko's love." Ochiko's like, "He'll be okay because I'm gonna save him." And then old lady turns around and turns into naked Toga. Who's like, "You will."
That was a cool panel, I gotta say.
It is this terrifying one whenever she turns around with that.
Hmm. Because like it goes from her like, oh, we'll save them to just the whole like I think it's a double spread of
Yeah, with her
Toga
little whole
transforming.
morph. I don't know what the ability's called. I've always just referred to it as like a morph because she like this fluid comes off of her and makes the costume,
Hmm.
and it has something to do with blood, but it, it's not blood that's forming her. She forms like clay or something. It's weird.
Yeah, it's like a goo. Some
Yeah,
kind of
but
weird.
then she kind of just falls into this building. She's like, "It's been forever, Ochiko."
Mm.
And then she follows her in. It's just like this abandoned, uh, basically house with all like these little old people trinkets.
Mm.
And she's like, "I was hoping to chat with you and Sue too, because Sue's my cute, precious friend. And with Izuku, I love when he's beat up, which is always so he's cool." And then she's like, "I love how cute you are too, Ochiko. I want to be just like you. So tell
Mm.
me, what do you want to do to me?" Which is weird because she's like weirdly blushing, and
Mm.
on top of her when she says that,
I thought that same thing. I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna
yeah.
pull my collar a little bit. It's like, what are we doing here?
But she's doing like her little normal like love fanatic thing, which and
Mm.
then Ochiko's like, "You mean you stole an old lady's blood and killed her just to ask me something like that?" And not knowing what Toga's just been through recently, and Toga's like, "Just to." And Ochiko's like, "Listen, I'm trying to save every life I can right now. Understand, Toga, if you get in the way, then I'm going to stop you right here, right now." And then
Mm.
Toga gets that dark, shadowed eyes again, and it's like, oh, she got her answer.
And that's where the chapter ends for that one.
I cannot wait. Because that is going to be a doozy.
That'll be a cool chapter when we get that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Moving on to One Piece.
992. One Piece.
Which, no cover story this time, just all of them eating together.
A nice
And
cover page.
yeah, and they changed the color of Edma, which has made a lot of people mad. Because it's purple, and a lot of people have already bought, like, aftermarket, like, black ones.
Mm.
So, oh no. But
That's
I love the way
unfortunate.
this starts, though. It's like, Big Mom, who apparently rolled all the way to the beginning of Onigashima, like we thought was going to happen. It's like, apparently lecturing Perospero is like, the alliance was with Kaido was my idea. And, Perospero was like, I'm sure it was, Mama. We've all been dreaming for the day where you'd become king of the pirates. She's like, oh, of course I know that. Why don't you kids trust me? And Perospero's like sweating, and he's like, oh, well, I guess that's a relief. And Marco really did just meet up with him and then just like casually come up here. He's like, oh, I see. Well, in that case, despite your invitation to work together, it would seem that the goal of vanquishing Ogre Kaido is no more Perospero.
Mm-hmm.
I really love the fact he specifically calls him an ogre. Because it's like, we still don't know what his fruit is or which one's the fruit. And he calls him specifically the ogre.
I gotta wonder about that. Because we're
Oda's
talking...
not big on throwaway lines. So yeah, I feel like that's important.
I was just wondering, because like when I meant to mention this, we were talking earlier, and when we get the... Is it Zebek? That's his name, right?
Yeah.
When we get that flashback, and it shows like each of them were on his crew, we see Kaido as his ogre form or person form.
Yeah, his humanoid form, yeah.
And that was a long time ago.
Well, they said he was a rookie at the time, too.
Yeah. So do you think he had a fruit back then?
I honestly do, yeah.
Like,
well, Robin's had her fruit since she was like 3.
Yeah, true.
A lot of them end up with their fruits pretty young.
It's like Luffy had his at what, like...
Yeah, whenever
8?
Shanks had. Yeah, no, 6.
6? Okay, I can remember.
Yeah, I think it's 6 if I remember right.
But it's like, I mean, it's entirely possible. I was just thinking, because it's like, we still don't know if he's a dragon turned into a person or a person turned into a dragon.
Yeah, because Oda has refused to reveal the fruit so far. Like, if it was a dragon, I feel like he would have done it at that perfect opportunity whenever he was floating above the town, and he could have gone, like, mythical Rio Nomi.
Yeah.
But he did not do that, so it's like, there's something he's hiding from us about the fruit. He doesn't always hold villain fruits back that long.
It's like, yeah, so it must be
like,
something big.
We got, like, Eneru's fruit, like, immediately. So it's like, if the opportunity presents itself early, he always goes for it, and apparently it has not done it.
I mean, maybe he just didn't want to put it there, but I still find it weird to drag out the dragon fruit that much if it's just a dragon fruit. I mean, dragon fruit would be sick, but
it would be awesome if it's the dragon fruit, but it's probably not the dragon fruit. Is what we're trying to get around to.
But okay, yeah.
All right, but yeah, started talk. He's basically like, "Oh, so you don't know what the meaning of the word remnants are?" It's like, do you really think that Pops is still binding us to his will? Every single one of us is free to do what we want. And Big Mom just starts laughing, and she's like, "That's right. Dead men tell no tales, or give no orders. Do as you will." And then it does one little panel of like Carrot and Wanda are running down towards Perospero.
Yeah, because she wants Carrot wants to avenge Pedro.
Yeah, and she noticed that Perospero's there. And the samurai keep trying to like run Luffy forward still. But it goes cuts over to like Black Maria at the top of the banquet hall, and they're like talking about how there's all the uproars going on, but it's like no one's going to get anywhere near the tatami room, so they just start asking Black Maria to play a song. And she's like, okay, how about this one? And she starts playing a song about like two people who wish to be reunited never could. until at last they meet beneath the light of the moon, and their passions begin to run high. And then it cuts over to the 9 Red Scabbards versus Kaido.
Which is sweet.
Yeah, in just a very fitting way.
I really
Maria
like how it
awesome,
keeps
and
the
I love-
song lyrics
Yeah.
going over it. It feels like a very like movie or TV show-esque like
Well,
cut.
he really wants it to seem like a play, and that really does help it seem like a play. Plus, our little fangirl club is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know where they came from. Like, none of these people look like they belong at all to, like, Kaido or Orochi's entourage. They all just happen to be there. But yeah, then it cuts to the 9 Red Scabbards with all of them charging at Kaido, while Kaido is, like, opens his mouth to shoot out, like, lightning.
Yeah, he roars and they turn to lightning and destroy the ground. And then, what's his
name? Okay, so the first
go
one to
ahead.
do something is Nekomamushi.
Oh, yeah.
He does Crimson Cat Dance, slicing down him in a circular pattern as he goes down using Electro. And then right after that comes down, what is his name?
I couldn't remember either. I just wrote Kappa Dude.
Yeah.
I feel bad I can't remember his name. I'll look it up.
Yeah, he comes down with Kappa style, and he slices with water through Kaido with a move he calls River of the Sea.
Which is a sweet name.
Yeah, and all the Beast Pirates are getting worried because every single attack is actually doing damage. But Kaido goes back to, like, slap the guy, I can't remember his name. But Igarashi comes in, knocks him out of the way, and then stabs his peg sword through the abdomen of Kaido up to the freaking hilt.
Oh my gosh, that was
And
awesome.
he calls it Canine Scourge, and then he slams it with Electro after that. And then we get Fallen Snow Scythes and Slicing Rounds, which is like a combination tag between Kiku and God, why can I not remember anybody's name? What is his name?
And let me see here.
Guy from the Whitebeard Pirates.
This is chapter 992. We do some scooting here. Huge. What are we looking at here? Oh, man, I can't remember.
Izo.
Izo, thank you.
Kiku and Izo have that combination attack, which is the Fallen Snow Scythe and Slicing Round. He starts saying, not a single one of these attacks bear any resemblance to Odin's blades, so why can they cut me? And he starts building up another Boro breath. And this is where we have one of the coolest moments in the entire chapter, which is freaking Raizo pops up in front of him and he starts using scrolling jutsu. He captures all of the Boro breath in a scroll, which changes from just a white pattern to like this flame pattern, wraps him in it, and then he says, and now I return this to you, blast breath, restoration, and strikes a pose as he burns Kaido alive with his own Boro breath.
That was so cool. I love that.
And the Beast Pirates are all like crying now. They're like, Master Kaido, how can he be taking so much damage? But to be fair, he hurt himself with that last one. And then it cuts over to...
It's like a Escanor attack. It's like, oh, it better have hurt me.
But it cuts over to like 4 shadows in the mist, all of them holding 2 swords, and it cuts to a little flashback of Odin trying to teach all of them his 2-sword style, and they're all basically trying to reject him. And he starts talking to his wife, and he's like, well, who wouldn't want to learn Odin 2-sword style? It's the best. And they're like, because they would have to fight a great big battle over who would be your best disciple, because they love you so much, they'd kill each other. But Kaido's like, what do you think you're doing with those cheap imitations? And they're all doing Odin 2-sword style, and it's Ashura Doji, Denjiro, freaking Kinemon, and then freaking, this is the best part. It's like, who expected Inarashi to be using two-sword style?
I didn't. He looks so cool.
Is it technically three-sword style? I think he's holding two swords. Is he technically a Santoryu now? Yeah, he's holding two swords, and he has the peg leg.
So he's using 3.
Yeah. Santoryu.
That's
I
cool.
want it. I want to see him use three-sword style.
Hopefully we'll get that.
Kaido starts to get mad because he's like, oh, I'm not going to waste my time with this cheap imitation.
Mm.
And it's like them pretending that they're not paying attention to Odin talk about his two-sword style while they're all kind of like crying as they start to use Paradise Totsuka, the attack he used to slice open the freaking Kaido's chest. And they do it, all 4 of them, right across the scar.
Yeah, like right on it.
Yeah, and it explodes in what at first I thought was blood, but actually now that I look at it, that is definitely like hockey. Yeah, so they managed to get Odin level hockey for like just this one attack.
Wow. Like that's crazy.
But,
That was such a cool moment.
Yeah, it's a good chapter.
Oh man. We do still have Burn the Witch.
It's pretty late. I feel like we should probably hold it off. Again, unfortunately.
Okay.
Not that long, though, just until we cover the next chapters.
Alright. So we'll do it one day when we're 65.
Exactly.
We could be absolute crazy people.
It'll
And
be the same day that you finally finish Rosario Vampire.
Well, that won't happen till we're 73. I was gonna say, wait till Burn the Witch comes back in like 2 years.
Yeah.
And
And then we'll finally cover this last chapter.
yes. I mean, we probably shouldn't do that.
I can't
Right.
believe we were beating everybody to the punch with this. Being super consistent, and now we just can't get to it. But we'll get to it with the very next one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
It's like it's one of those. It's like we save it for the end, and by the time we're done with all these chapters, it's usually like it's been a while, so we
Yeah.
don't want to add more chapter.
Yeah, or it gets super late.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's where we're going to end things.
So that was a good week for chapters. Well, we had 2 chapters, but you know.
Honestly, I think everybody can figure out the top 3 in no particular order.
Man, One Piece was so
But-
good, though. Oh my gosh.
One Piece was really good. Black Clover is finally doing good again, and Chainsaw Man's just astounding as always. So
Oh
like
man.
the subscribe button, subscribe to the like button. Good day.
Bye.